Your Excellency, for us commence this hearing program, this is important to commit the event into the hand of government. On this note, may I invite Honorable Kabir Ibrahim Kusura, Minister of Nigeria. Represented by the Chief Whip of the House of Representatives, the Chairman, House of Representatives, Committee on Admin, Production and Services, of course, the lead Chairman of today's sitting, other co-chairmen here present, respected very hardworking members of this committee.
I will do them now. Just give me like 2 minutes. I will do this one now.
Other invited stakeholders,
Give me your phone, come.
members of the press,
Mohammed, give me
ladies
your
and
phone.
gentlemen, good afternoon.
Is it there?
You're welcome to the House of Representatives public hearing of the House Joint Committee on Agricultural Production and Services, Privatization and Consolidation, Special Duties, Science Engineering, and Public Assets. This hearing is on the introduction of genetically modified organisms, GMOs, into Nigeria to assess the potential health and environmental risks associated with GMOs and crops. The second one is to investigate on the privatization and concession of federal government silos and other critical assets. The House of Representatives deliberated on these two issues, and after long deliberation, the House mandates these 5 joint committees to carry out this hearing to get the opinions of these stakeholders and report back the further legislative action. Today is the allotted date for this hearing. Without much ado, Your Excellency, the day is fast spent. May we please, with your kind permission, sir, take introduction from this side of the divide, while introduction from the stakeholders will come at the technical stage of this hearing. With your permission, sir. Thank you very much, sir. We start from your far right, Honorable Barry.
Please, first one.
Mr. Chairman, co-chairman, our distinguished colleagues, I speak for the good people of the Federal Hospitals and thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Chairman of this city, my honorable colleagues, I am Yusuf Kurubarati. I represent the people of Osu Federal Constituency, Chairman of the Mr. Speaker, here represented by respected Chief Whip of the House, Mr. Chairman, co-chairman, distinguished colleagues, I'm Right Honorable Marcos Romo. I represent the respected people of Eastern West, Eastern Central, and Federal Constituency, and from the Edo State, and Chairman House of the City on Rural Development. Mr. Speaker, every represented leader, the chief whip, right, Kumo, the Joint Chairman, distinguished honorable colleagues, our invited guests, distinguished Senator, the Honorable Minister for Agri, and other guests. My name is Honorable Abdul Aliukuye. I speak for the group people of Chumul Federal Constituency and from Lagos State. I'm the chairman committee on public access.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Every representative on our own, the chairman of the committee and the co-chair, respected colleagues, on this distinguished Senator, Honorable Minister of Agriculture, I remain very curious about the moving of farmers. Yes, Timana Salman and Madu, never the South of the Dallas, Chairman and from the South of the Port, solid gas and oil.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, leader, the chairman of this committee, very distinguished colleagues. My name is Leader Robina Omosibe. I represent the clinical officer of South Constituency of Abia State. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I am very glad to present the
Give me back.
The investigation hearing has just begun, and the introduction of the members of the member of the committee are introducing themselves now, while the proper investigation hearing will be at earnest. Please don't go nowhere. Just join Voicetv Nigeria to give you the full package of the joint committee hearing on agricultural and production services and parastatals.
Co-chairman, the Minister of Agriculture, my senior brother and boss, all invited guests, the press, ladies and gentlemen. Karma is the name. I represent the awesome people of us that are on the chat and the Federal Constituency. I'm a grace of God, the Speaker, the Chairman, House Committee on Climate Change and Security. However, our honorable minister, the invited guests, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, honorable chief of police officer, I represent the group of Arnold of the Ministerial Presidency, the chairman of the Executive. Excellency, the Speaker of the Federal House of Representatives, representative the represented by the chairman, high representative colleagues, Excellency, Speaker, ably represented by Malam, the whole leaders, and their brothers, chairman, co-chairman, honorable colleagues, our esteemed guests, members of the press. My name is Akita Bola. I represent the wonderful people of Surulere Federal Constituency and from Lagos State. Thank you. I remain the member of the legislative body, Federal Constituency and Kobe State.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. We represent the co-chairman, honorable mayors, honorable minister, and all members of the press, invited guests, and gentlemen. By all means, my name, I represent Chairman of the Constituency and from Ghana State. Chairman of the Constituency from Ghana State.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Co-chairman, Mr. Speaker, you represented our chief whip. Co-chairman, honorable colleagues, honorable minister, our guests, Ministerial, ladies and gentlemen, honorable chief doctor, Voicetv, I represent the good people of the State, with very proud leadership. and the Deputy Chairman, Poverty Committee and Poverty Alleviation. Thank you.
Speaker, will be represented by the Chief Whip, Chairman, Co-Chairman, honorable colleagues, the Honorable Minister of Agriculture, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, I remain on our common represent Nigeria, starting from the northwest, as the head of the constituency of our state, also with the group of promotion on potential health and environmental risks of the chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, let me quickly inform this gathering that we have in our midst this afternoon the Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, the Council of the Student Senator, Abakar CON. We also have heads of agencies and parasocial, as I mentioned earlier, cross and chairman has been that position to take the production of stakeholders when we are at that stage of this year. Thank you for coming. This was this is my honor and privilege to invite the lead chairman of this joint committee, and of course the chairman has representatives culture, agriculture, construction and services. The very right man, very hard working for the people without you. Please bless the Lord of us.
The Nigerian Parliament, by the two House Honorable my colleagues, chairman, who are here, my individual committees who are here, our guests, as well as our leader. I know people will be surprised why we always call him leader. That's the Minister of Agriculture. First of all, he is the past chairman of APC, national chairman of APC. That's one. Secondly, he was a member of this parliament as a House Representative member. Thirdly, he is a senator of this parliament. And today, he is once of this side as a hunter. But today, he is a side whereby he will be hunted. The Minister of Agriculture. The head of agencies who are here, members of press, very good evening to you all. It is my singular honor and pleasure to welcome you all, our distinguished guests, to this important investigative hearing that borders on the well-being of Nigeria, particularly on the issue of food security and health implications of GM crops in Nigeria. This investigative hearing comes as a result of the mandate given to the committees on agricultural production and services, privatization and commercialization, science engineering, public asset and spiritual duties to investigate the privatization concessioning of the 22 out of 33 government silos for grain storage and other critical national assets in Nigeria. This mandate came on the 7th of 2024, and this particular committee that I mentioned was mandated to do the investigative hearing and find out the circumstances surrounding the holdings and report back to the House, and that's where we are here today. It is also to conduct a comprehensive investigation into the introduction of the genetically modified crop, GMC, into the Nigeria by the National Biosafety Management Agency to assess the potential health and environmental risks associated with it. Honorable colleagues, significance of these two investigations cannot be overemphasized as they play a crucial role in the national food security and the potential health and environmental concern in the Parliament under the leadership of Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, GCON. Ladies and gentlemen, the role of the Parliament in this exercise is to carry out its constitutional mandate of inquiry into the public asset with the mind of correcting any lacuna associated with the conduct, with the privatization, concessioning of this silo were done, and to determine the desirability or otherwise of the introduction of GM food into Nigeria. The Joint Committee assignment is not to be shown to anybody or indirect anybody, as the finding will be tabled before the House for appropriate parliamentary process as enshrined in the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended. It will therefore include all representatives of the ministries, departments, agencies, stakeholders, private sector, and individuals to contribute to the success of this investigative hearing as the benefit for all Nigerian people, especially as the hearing has to do with the national food security, which is also part of the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. On this note, I once again welcome you all this November gathering. I wish you all a fruitful celebration, and the committee will ensure that principle and fairness and equity are adhered in this investigative hearing. Thank you for listening, and God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Let me quickly inform our esteemed guests that this is an investigative hearing. We do not allow clapping. We do not allow clapping. But I thank you for clapping for my chairman. Thank you very much. On this note, it is my honor and privilege to invite the Speaker of the House of Representatives of Federal Republic of Nigeria, Right Honorable Abbas Tajuddin, PhD, ably represented by the capable, very hardworking, very vocal Chief Whip of the House of Representatives, Honorable Usman Bello, who please present his remarks and declare his hearing of the representatives.
Honorable Chairman, Co-Chairman, my disciple, respected colleagues, Honorable Minister, and our invited guests, members of the grand profession, ladies and gentlemen, very good afternoon. Let me start with a already established protocol. Right Honorable Speaker, Tajudeen Abbas is instructed me to come and hold brief for him in this very important session. He equally gave me a written speech to convey his address. I am privileged to peruse and go through the speech. I want to pray for indulgence for the quantum of time. I will only give you the highlight and the synopsis of the speech so that not to take your time. I need to understand that this is an investigative hearing emanating from motions deliberated and approved by the House. Referrals were issued to the relevant committees, and that's why we are here. The two referrals, one covering the issue of investigation to do with privatization and possession of 22 out of the 33 services that have been granted. The other one is to investigate the issue of NGOs or products or seats. I'm very certain and convinced with the array of colleagues assembled here. I'm very certain that they have the capacity and the capability to thoroughly investigate this matter and bring justice to the matter. On the other hand, having related with the minister and the ministry, I'm equally very convinced that as Nigerians, we will do justice to the issues concerned. But I just want to make two key comments. One is on the sensitivity of our national ethics, particularly that has to do with agriculture. In a nation like ours, national ethics, particularly services which are cornerstones to our national food security, cannot be taken lightly and cannot be taken for granted. Therefore, on the part of my colleagues, I advise that you do a thorough job, but try to be fair, balanced, and just. On the issue of our invited guests, feel free, this is a people's house. We are representing Nigerians. We are representing the silent majority. And therefore, be a patriotic Nigerian, give us any piece of information that will help us do justice to the issue. I think by the time when we are able to cross-fertilize ideas, bring out issues to do with the process. I think we were talking about investigation issue of privatization and possession. We are talking about the involvement of ICRC, we are talking about transparency, we are talking about accountability, we are talking about prudence, we are talking about process. So if you be able to bring to the bear on the floors these issues, whether procedurally laws of the land are respected, I think most of us are not only on the same page. We will do justice to Nigerian people and to the people we are representing. It is on this note that from the powers conferred on the Speaker of the House of Representatives, transmitted to me, God brief for him, I hereby declare this
session before. I wish you was listening.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Again, we do not allow clapping, but I thank you for clapping for His Excellency. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, we are aware that you have some equally important engagement to attend to. But before you leave, it is important for this joint committee to at least say thank you. May I, on this note, invite the House of Representatives Committee Chairman of
Right now, let's keep that represented by we, the committee, chaired by Honorable Kawaji, the chairman of the committee, want to express our gratitude, our appreciation for your presence in this joint committee meeting opening session today. I want to thank you for coming. We understand, appreciate the enormous responsibility placed on by the House. We want to assure you that we'll carry out the best investigation. Has never been done in this House before. And we'll come out with the best report to make sure that proper things are done. Thank you very much. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, sir. With that, we have come to the end of this ceremony for this joint public hearing. Your Excellency, we thank you for coming. Oh, we wouldn't mind if you can spend another 1 hour with us, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for coming. We appreciate it, sir. Mr. Chairman, sir, Co-Chairman, respected honorable members, the Honorable Minister of Agri, heads of agencies, other invited stakeholders, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, we are now at the technical stage of this hearing. Mr. Chairman, with your kind permission, sir, may I please step aside while he sets the tone of presentation and of course other activities here, sir. You are in charge, sir.
Thank you, MC, my colleague. Let me start by thanking you for the meeting of our leaders, who was presented by the House. I was aware the hearing was opened by the Honorable Speaker of the House. There. So we are now going into the technical section on the entire issue that was here today. The technical section is of two different matters that were before us. One, issue of the installation of genetically modified organism crops that are called GMO in Nigeria. To assess one of the important issues, one is to assess the potential health and environmental risk associated with this particular GMO that is introduced in Nigeria. Secondly, is to call the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration Control, NAFDAC, because the only introduction GMO and crops in Nigeria to be properly labeled is a guard consumer. Two, need to investigate the other issues that were before us is
to investigate the organizational functioning of the federal government silos. That's where we have about 33 silos across the federation. Out of this 33, 22 was given out as a concession. And we have an issue before us regarding to this issue of concession. We have different petitions that led to the movement of the motion. And the motion was mandated to this particular committees, the three joint committees, to investigate how the concession was done, how the process was done, whether the due process was followed, whether the right people who are supposed to get this silence was given, or whether they were denied. That's why we are here today. We do this investigation. And we are with different agencies, ministries, particularly you are seeing the Honorable Minister of Agriculture is here. And we have a lot of agencies that are related to this particular issue that is before us that we have visited. And they have done their submission. The submission is before the honorable committees. And we are engaging the agencies and the organizations that made their submission before us to give us a higher light on what they have submitted before the committee in brief. Like you are aware, I know the meeting was scheduled to start by 12 o'clock earlier today, but we have started the meeting almost after 1. We are almost 1 hour plus late. So we are giving a time for any presenter to make his presentation. You know what you submit. Go brief on what you have submitted. Don't say you will go deep in it. That one is the work of our committees already have done your own submission. And after your presentation, we will now give the floor to the honorable member who have a question or anything to answer or any observation. The presenter will be asked to answer in brief. Then later on, we can decide to start or ask you to wait. Constantly we will go up and do our job as time permit. Thank you. So the first presentation, the first session we are having, the first presentation is on the issue of GMO, which I want to call the minister, who is the most senior officer among all the people who appear before us, to make his presentation. Even if he is not the senior officer, being the former national chairman of our political party, we have to give it that honor. I know the opposition members would not like to hear it, but they have no option. Thank you. Honorable Minister, you are invited to make your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman of House Committee on Agricultural Production. Other chairmen of House Committees here present, honorable members of the House of Representatives, distinguished invitees, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Chairman, permit me to proudly give the position of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security in respect of the GMO. I would like to start by thanking the Honorable Chair and the House of Representatives for giving me this honor to appear before you today. I would like to start by saying the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security acknowledges the food crisis in the country, and that is why His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, has declared a state of emergency shortly upon assumption of office. Interestingly, he has not left anyone in doubt about his commitment to accommodating all genuine ideas and innovations that can better agricultural sector in Nigeria. Currently, Nigeria has 16 national agricultural research institutes with specific mandates for various crops, including institutes for stored produce, extension, and agricultural mechanization. These institutes are tasked with researching and developing seeds that consider negative production factors such as drought, flood, pests, and diseases. The goal is for the seas of to be safe, environmentally friendly for humans, plants, animals, and soil health. Biotechnology has also become very essential in addressing these challenges by improving the performance of local crops, animals, and fisheries. To ensure the safety of laboratory findings, the government has established agencies within various ministries. These include the National Biotechnology Research Development Agency under the Federal Ministry of Science, Innovation and Technology, and the National Biosafety Management Agency under the Federal Ministry of Environment. These agencies are intended to screen laboratory products and ensure their safety. The Nigerian National Agricultural Research System boasts of highly competent researchers dedicated to advancing agricultural development strategies. Today, apart from
Honorable colleagues, you had a presentation from the Honorable Minister of Agri and Food. So I don't know if you have any member who has a question or based on what was presented here from the Honorable Minister. Give the floor to whoever is willing to ask a question.
Chairman. Chairman.
Maybe before the minister will allow me to say, allow minister, you are aware we have two sections. The second section is the issue of silence, which I'm sure you are aware of. Maybe before we ask you to sit down because of respect we answer for you, if you can see some presentation of the issues related to silence. So if there is anything you can brief the committee regarding to the matter, so that you can do it at once before you take your seat. Yes, sir.
I can make some presentation, but I was thinking that we deal with the two of us and then
No, we are just giving you this as a whole, but if you want us to.
I think it's better we deal with
Okay, Madam Police, you have what the minister said. So if anybody has question on the issue of the presentation now, you know, on the issue of here, on the issue of here or on, so the minister is ready to answer the question. Madam Police, should not be silent or be calm. Everybody will be given opportunity to ask the question you are given to ask. Let's start. Mr. MC, where's the mic? The mic.
Once again, my name is Paul Owana. I represent the people of Massa. I am from Kogi State, the Conference State. I want you to help give me explanation, the committee explanation on refuse farming and why would a farmer have to pay 20% of his farm to plant a refuse farm in order to protect the yield.
Honorable police, the guest. I know members have interest on this issue. Why I say so, I know since the Monday was given to this particular committee, we have been having meetings day and night. But I want to know this is something that has to do with the technical issue. I believe minister is there as a minister as a head of the agency. There are some agencies under the ministry who are professional, who are clinical people related to this issue. I would agree with that here.
And we can still allow any of them who are willing to invite or deliver any question that was asked you to hear to answer. Particularly those agencies that are under your ministry. So you can go ahead, any question that you cannot able to answer, maybe you can invite a technical person under your agency to help you and assist you to answer the question. And I advise maybe you take 3 questions so that at least the 3 questions now can be brought back to the head of agency for you to answer. Maybe you should not want to time for members to ask additional questions before you start.
Mr. Chairman, as I earlier noted in my speech, we have some, I think about 3 or 4 institutions that will want to address this gap, because they will give a lot of insight to the issue of clearance and what they have done so far. And that will now bring about some of the questions and concerns that will be raised by this committee, and they will be able to answer this. So I'd like to.
If I understand maybe you are proposing to, or maybe you are doing this to the
But I mentioned, so I was proposing that if we can have those
head of agency.
yes.
Yeah. You want them to be before you want them to stay there so that they can
They can stay there and
okay, if you want them to assist, you can sit down. You understand? So that any question that is coming to the time to the anything that is related to them, they are not being answered. Okay. Okay. So, the head of the agencies, you have the resolution of the committee that the questions are coming. You have the minister's presentation. Anything that they will do, any question that come, anyone that are willing to answer, you can raise your hand. So, we allow you, permission to answer or change the answer.
Thank you very much, Chairman. My question was around approvals for CMO in Nigeria. There is a general consensus globally that CMO and various causes environmental contribution, classified causes, sterility, cancer, cause hormonal imbalances, which result in various cells identified as carrying hormonal. These concerns have been agreed and planned around. And the recent trend, a lot of countries, even in Europe, are buying GMOs in their territories. Why is Nigeria for that? Have we considered all of this factors? And then, what are we doing to ensure that our people are able to see? I think our rights are always going to be.
Okay, thank you, Honorable David. Is there any other question? Okay, Honorable Mori. Honorable Mori, thank you for your observation. We will come to that. You know, we are here for public hearing, and it was called public hearing. And public are here, we allow the president to declare the issue that brought them here. So, we noted your observation. Thank you. Is there any further question?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. What I want to do was community experience. There's a demarcation between public hearing and investigation. We are here for them to hear what they want to the power of information. Who are legislate over. We can listen to them and tell what is positive from what they say. And here we are here to investigate, to ask, to scrutinize, to have some after their answer. So I am that they should brief us on everything. I have the floor. While I said this, Chairman, I have to go down. Western developed nations, including GMO, in the whole world, are the first countries to start banning it and creating a lot of fear and questions on genetically modified products across the world. As I'm talking to you, there are cases in different courts that have been deliberated after charge report, and even the companies were sanctioned and paid ransom as regards to the activities of GMO products because of the impact, negative impact and negative impact on some individuals and some organizations. So, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman,
smallholder farmers be protected from dependency on patented GMOs if we continue in this line? And the second question is, what independent bodies are tasked with monitoring the impact of GMO use in Nigeria?
Thank you, Shaddai. I hope you are not Shaddai's question being prepared now. You have a question from Shaddai. Okay. So we have three good questions now that was asked by the government. Everybody will be allowed to ask a question. There's not a lot of understanding, we say everybody should talk. But at the end of the day, we will end up causing the confusion. So, I don't know, Mr. I will go ahead with the question, or you first want to answer this big question.
I think right and explore because a lot of times out there, whether there are two or wrong, there's something that we bring it out there. My suggestion, because I also believe some of these conspiracies that are out there. That's why I was very cautious in my remarks. And I was also very cautious not to admit that, because what is the terminology, what do you mean by GMO? It means genetically modified organisms. Now, some of these hybrid seeds that we see that have been there for the past 20, 30 years, they are also modified. So where is the line between hybrid and modified seeds? Some of the seeds that we see that are out there that we'll be using are also modified. So I've asked this question several times. I have engaged professionals or not. And the issue is, the Chairman, honorable colleagues, I refer to you colleagues because I was here before. And I believe that once we can draw that line between varieties that will harm health or the environment, then I think we can move forward in trying to see what is the best. Because we are challenged right now. We have a seed problem in the country. We may not see it, but we are actually challenged in terms of seed solutions. We are using greens and planting. Our land is shrinking. Whether we like it or not, land is being taken over by population. Nigeria grew by 5.4 million last year and is expected to grow by 6.8 or 7 million this year. The rate of growth is incredible, and the land is shrinking through climate change, desertification, flooding, insecurity, and population habitation. Even now, Mr. President has graciously established the Ministry of Livestock, where they want to now go to demarcate grazing land and now it's going to also affect the farmers. So we have to devise ways of trying to increase yield per hectare. Our population will be 400 million by 2050. 2030, sorry. No, 2050. Excuse me, pardon me, 2050. 2050 is 25 years from today. I remember very well, June 2nd, when we were sworn in this chamber, 1999. That was 25 years ago. It seemed like yesterday. 2050, 25 years from today will be tomorrow. What do we do? What are we doing so as to feed the over 400 million people that will exist in Nigeria? And God willing, we hope that all of us will be there at that time to witness this. But we have to start doing something. We have to increase our yield. We have to supply food to Nigeria. We have to find ways in trying to capture the growing population. We'll be the third largest country by 2050, by the end of the century, after China and India. Today, one state in India is more than the population of Nigeria. Uttar Pradesh is 240 million people. Nigeria is 230. So, Mr. Chairman, honorable colleagues, I'm just saying that let us look at it objectively. I know the public is very concerned. Everybody is concerned about you. The narrative that is being spread around suggests that it's something. There are varieties that they say they will kill the next farm. You will be able to grow anything because there's issue of pollination. They will say the one that will affect your life. But also so many conspiracy theories that we have had, from the ones in COVID, from the ones from trying to reduce polio population and what have you. Those people that took polio vaccine 30 years ago are grandparents today. Where is the narrative that has been driven that polio was supposed to regulate population? They are grandparents today. They are part of the population growth that we have today, Mr. Chairman. So I would suggest briefly now, I will call on this issue. Let them keep the narrative. Some I agree, some I don't agree. The same way. And I think collectively we should be able to look at it holistically and decide as a nation what is best for our people.
That's why we have ideas. And what I'm assuring you at the end of this year before investigating, I am assuring you something will come out of it that is for the best interest of this country. That's why we call this house a people's house. Anything that comes to this house that was end of the family listen, because we didn't play a year of people. But at the end of the day, the most important is anything that we are doing, or anything that we agree on, we should do it for the best interest of our family. And assuring for that at the end of this investigative, something that is going to be for the best interest of people of it. Before the end of our forum, we work with the professional board of the supporters and who are not supported. We come up with something that is going to be useful to the nation and something that at least at the end of the day, we did it. Even if the people are not happy now, maybe in future they will know that we have done something that is right. Thank you, Mr. Honorable Minister. So, okay. So, Honorable Billy, we will allow what I will suggest because of the time. Let's just allow the presenters to make their presentation. Then the question can now come. Is the Minister of Environment here or is the representative? Environment. Anybody from the environment? Anybody from science and technology? Science and technology. Yeah? Any agency who are okay. Okay. Health, what of health? Health is here. Okay. Can you just give us a brief highlight on, you have made a submission?
I represent the
Sit down.
Honorably observed, I represent the Minister of Health and Social Welfare, who is presently presiding on National Council of Health. in Maduguri, Borno State. In Maduguri, Borno State, the Minister of Health and Social Welfare is presently presiding on National Council of Health in Borno State. So, senses are covered that will not be able to be here. So, the Federal Minister of Health and on the GM will be presented to the committee as soon as the economy starts arriving. I cannot make any decision now until the economy starts give approval. Thank you very much.
So, order.
What I'm saying, economy stop there is not here.
Order, please, order. Our guest, please, you have to be silent.
The Federal Minister of Health will make his presentation to the committee when the National Council, when we finish the National Council of Health. The Honorable Minister of Health is not here now. Thank you.
Okay, which means you rely on the submission you have made to the committee?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next presenter is DG National Biosafety Management Agency. DG National Biosafety Management Agency.
Yeah, no, you can sit down there and make it.
Yes, the Honorable Chair of this committee, the distinguished honorable members, all stakeholders here present, Agnes MC Asagra, PhD, and I'm the DG CEO of the National Biosafety Management Agency. Before I make my presentation, Chairman, I want to ask, do I make my presentation first or take up some of the questions that were asked?
No, make your presentation first.
Okay.
So the question will come. More questions are coming.
Okay.
Like you know, you are the main agency, right? You are the main agency.
Number one competent agency.
Thank you.
Yes.
I believe you can defend what you have submitted to us.
Yes, sir. The federal government brought about biotechnology because of food security and to be in the League of Nations. And biotechnology is actually using microorganisms to produce products that are beneficial to mankind and to animals that are present. And then what is it? Biotechnology, if it is not regulated, begins to create problems. And that was why the federal government established National Biosafety Management Agency. Because biosafety in plain terms is just keeping the people and the environment safe. By the Act of Parliament in 2015, the National Biosafety Management Agency was established, and this was there was an amendment in 2019 because biotechnology is not stagnant. There are all manner of emerging biotechnology, and therefore it has to be amended. And also, when we're talking about GM foods, it undergoes rigorous safety evaluations globally. And these assessments include 3,500 independent worldwide giving biosafety approvals. Also, National Biosafety Management Agency is equipped with a task of making sure that all agencies, all research institutes, all universities that practice modern biotechnology are regulated by the agency. And also, when we talk about biosafety and National Biosafety Management Agency, it is not, when you talk about safety of our safety of our GMOs, it is of essence that yes, we do data that has been accrued from the analysis of biodiversity are things that we make use of. And also, what is the process? We have an extensive process, and I would crave the indulgence of the chairman to just go through this so that people can know. When somebody wants to get a permit from the agency, we have our forms on the website. You take the form, you fill it, then you send to us, we look at it. If it is okay, we return. If it is not okay, we will tell you where you have made mistakes. And after that, you pay a fee through Remitter. And then after that, you now bring your risk assessment dossier to the agency. And when this is done, we have a 21-day frame where this is given to the whole country.
You have to be brief.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just saying that for just this process that I needed to say. After that, there's a committee. There are two committees set up: the National Biosafety Committee and the National Biosafety Technical Subcommittee. And in this, we have agencies. We have the NOA. We have the Consumer Protection. We have NAFDAC. NAFDAC is part of the technical subcommittee, which takes charge of the food safety aspect, where you see that, okay, it is not having allergenicity or it is not toxic. All these take place with them. And also, after that is done, the NBC come together, and if the dossier, if the risk assessment is acceptable, then the permit may be given. And I'd like to tell this honorable house that only 3 crops have been given commercial release in this country. The first one is BT cotton, and that was in 2018. The second one, PBR cowpea, was in 2019, and Taylor maize was given in 2021. And all these go through the variety. That is why you find out that, okay, this crop was released in 2021, but then for commercial purposes for farmers, it was not until February 2024, after we had done the commercial release. And also of importance is that our process takes place through an international protocol called Cartagena Protocol, where about over 189 countries of this world are parties. And also we make use of codex tomorrow. And therefore, in National Biosafety Management Agency, we organize and we work with integrity, with transparency, and we have competent, trained and retrained scientists who are able to do their work adequately well. And one thing that is another heartwarming thing is that our scientists, our researchers are carrying out research. So we don't have to depend on external people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Billy, for the
Good presentation. So the next presenter is the National Biotechnology Research Development Agency. Is he around?
Around, sir.
Okay. In only 5 minutes, just highlight on what you have said to us, so that at least members can have an idea to ask a question.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir. I would like to indulge, to crave your indulgence for allowing me to stand on the existing protocol. The National Biotechnology Research and Development Agency hereby presents a compliment to the House Committee on Agricultural Productivity and Services. We also have the honor to acknowledge the receipt of this invitation that was sent to us on the 7th November 2024. In response to the request of a memoranda on the motion to investigate the introduction of genetically modified organisms in Nigeria, National Biotechnology Research and Development Agency would like to make the following submission. Firstly, NAFDA, though created in 2001 by the approval of National Biotechnology Policy by the Federal Government, Federal Executive Council, under the aegis of Federal Ministry of Innovation, Science and Technology, become legally established by the Act of the National Assembly 2022 to carry out research and development and create and develop public awareness in biotechnology in order to encourage a private sector participation in biotechnology industry in Nigeria and for related matters. While we acknowledge the concerns surrounding the safety and regulatory oversight of GMOs, it is important to note that scientific evidence strongly supports the safety and benefits of genetically modified organisms in the country. Contrary to the claims, GMO have undergone comprehensive testing and have been proven to be safe for human consumption in the developed countries for over 3 decades now. Furthermore, they have the potential to increase crop yields, enhance nutritional content, and reduce the reliance of harmful pesticides used in agriculture. Leading scientific organizations such as National Academy of Science, World Health Organization, Food and Agricultural Organization, the European Food Safety Agency, peer-reviewed scientific journals, regulatory agencies responsible for GMO oversight, and the American Medical Association have all confirmed the safety of GMOs. Additionally, in Nigeria, GMOs are certified by National Biosafety Management Agency. The sister just finished speaking about the safety procedure. Competent authority on GMOs. The introduction of GMOs in Nigeria has the capacity to bolster food security, improve agricultural productivity, reduce malnutrition and hidden hunger, create jobs, generate wealth, mitigate greenhouse gas and climate change negative effects, and contribute to sustainable environment, industrial and economic growth. Therefore, I urge you to carefully consider the scientific evidence and expert opinion before reaching a decision that will hinder the progress of agricultural innovation in the country. The scientific research on genetically modified organism crops conducted by Nigerian scientists has garnered attention from the global bioscience community. As a result, scientists from various countries have been visiting Nigeria to study and learn from the work being done by Nigerian researchers. These represent the positive development and demonstrate the valuable contributions of Nigerian scientists to the field of bioscience. I'm concluding, sir.
What is the submission that already have made to?
Yes, we respectively.
Go to the conclusion you
yes, that is what I'm reading now.
The important is not to just
we respectively request for reconsideration of the motion to suspend the introduction of new genetically modified crops. Instead, We suggest implementing a science-based approach to oversee their use. With proper regulation and oversight, GMO can greatly contribute to Nigerian agricultural advancement. The agency has submitted all relevant documents and other pertinent material that will guide the committee in making informed decisions on these matters. Thank you very much.
Thank you, DG, for your presentation. So the next presenter is the DG National and Federal State Council. DG, please, very brief. Very brief.
Thank you very much.
Please put in consideration that we have another technical section that I have to finish today. So you have to be very brief with your presentation.
I appreciate my honorable minister for making it easier for me. I think it's very clear that there are concerns on genetic modifications, but then as scientists, you need to put up facts from science to be able to adjust either those concerns are okay or not. If there is any new innovation in the world, definitely there will be world concerns. When planes came on board, I'm not sure it was not everybody who was willing to fly. So also we think, today we are talking of GMO, and another time, sometimes if there is a challenge in the society, you always come out with, work out how do we solve these kind of challenges. Today with GMO, maybe in another 5 years or 10 years, we'll be talking of another technology, and therefore there must be fears and concerns. Those concerns, commission had highlighted, but then we, as scientists, we think that we must get some facts to actually justify whether these things are correct or not. And if you don't sit down alone, you also compare the peer review things we talked about. What somebody is, you have to look. And I'm happy that Nigerian scientists are participating actively. The 16 research institutes we have here are working seriously on to know if they are doing and you are not learning and also participating, you might end up importing from them and you don't even know what they are giving you. So I think we give okay. So the concerns are noted, and I think comparing with the scientific evidence, we do not see enough reasons to stop work on such instances. If you recall before, science will bring up innovations. And GMO about the safety, let us look at the scientific angles and better, so that this one will be for what we will see. Yes. Enough for so that you can be able to see, you will be able to be very open. It's not that science are in the cocoon that nobody knows what they are.
Your time is off. Your time is off. So, off your mind. The next presenter is ES Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria. Is he here around here?
Yes, I am here.
Where are you?
I am here, sir.
Come back here so that we can. Close here. And I only give you 5 minutes. Only 5 minutes. What if you have made your presentation? 3 minutes. Yes. There. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, distinguished members of this honorable committee. First of all, before I make the brief, I want to say is that I want to clear 1 or 2 misconceptions. The first misconception there is GMOs are dumped on Nigeria. On Nigeria, that is the first misconception. I want to clear the air that the crops we have approved and released in this country are Nigerian. In response to Honorable Shagaya to say, are there safety measures that are being put in place, independent bodies? Yes, we do not work without the collaboration of the All Farmers Association of Nigeria. And I'm definitely sure that the chairman of the All President of the All Farmers of Nigeria is here. He will testify to the viability, capacity, content, and of course, to some extent, the productivity of what we have generated from our laboratory. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. These are questions that are coming from the members, but we just want to take all the questions. You can sit there. And same professor asking you to sit there. Maybe it's a corona. The next letter is the Institute of Agricultural Research. Sama Rosaria. Is the leader around? Is the leader around? Okay. 2 minutes. Okay, 1 minute.
I am Dr. representing the EDIR. Today, most of the focus is on IAR, the institute that released the 3 genetically modified crops. Why did IAR choose to go into genetic transformation? That should be the question here. Let's take the case of the PBR crop. Over 1,000 accessions of cattle were scrutinized for resistance to Moruha. No single accession turned out to be resistant. We had no choice. The only viable option was to use biotechnology to enhance resistance to Moruha. Moruha can lead to 100% yield loss in the field. And we all know today, without pesticides, we cannot cultivate cow. And we all know the health hazards associated with using herbicides and insecticides in the field. That has been attested. You can ask farmers. That even affects that even impacts on their lifespan. Because at the end of the day, you see them having health issues, cancer, lung issues. These have been medically documented. As scientists, we don't speak on hearsay, we speak on facts. In our submission, we have given statistics, we have even provided, and I ask everyone present here should check, we should all Google and see the information available. I'm a lady, I'm a mother, I'm a daughter.
Thank you.
I will not work on something that will harm my family.
Thank you, yes. Thank you, yes. Thank you, yes. I think it is over. Thank you. I think all you want to say, we have already made some of the submission. I hear. I said all you wanted to say now, you have already made a submission to the government.
I just want to mention one thing that for the last time, please.
Okay, mention it.
Biotechnology is not new. The same science that is used to produce insulin was the same science I used to produce telomerase, PBR copy, and then BT.
Thank you, yes. Thank you, thank you. Yes, thank you. So the next presenter is the DG chapter. The other people around there. Okay. What of CG custom? Anybody from the controller of custom? What of agricultural quarantine? Is anybody from quarantine here? Agri quarantine. They were invited and they made a submission. Did the raw material research and development council? Okay, come close so that we can hear you. Maybe we can hear what you want to. No, there is it. But be very brief, just
So it's not English.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Upon facts and evidences. When we have fears that have no.
You did not introduce yourself and tell us the title you hold in your organization.
Thank you, sir.
Do you have a letter from the state? And it will be sustained in further presentation. But allow me to continue with this presentation just 2 minutes so that we can get up. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. In conclusion, what I'm saying is that I've had the privilege of representing the council at various committee levels by the Nigerian Biosafety Management Agency before any approval is given by the agency for any introduction or use or cultivation of feed trial of GMO. Committees are set up where scientists from all over Nigeria are called to scrutinize that application to make sure that the introduction or acceptance of that GMO is in line with basic and standard scientific protocols and standards. So that is what the Raw Material Research and Development Council calls. We have the opportunity of being part of that national body that scrutinizes the application for introduction of GMOs in Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Honorable colleagues, the first session had the presentation made here before all the presenters of the government and government agencies and ministries. So the next presenters that we are having in our list here is the NGOs. NGOs and individuals who are willing to make their submission. Can we still allow them to make their own submission before we allow for a general question for both of them?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, Mr. Chairman. Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Is that the wish of the committee?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
So the next presentation now is Professor Amor. Is Professor Amor here? Okay. Only 2-3 minutes. Please just go straight to the point or go straight to what you want to say. Just already you have the submission here.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, come back here. Just go straight. You are point. Don't mention any protocol. Just go straight to your point.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. My point is very clear. Nigeria is not yet ripe for genetically modified organisms. And the reasons are very clear. I'm a scientist. I'm a researcher. I'm heading a Center for Food Safety and Agricultural Research in a university here in Nigeria, and I've studied across the globe. Genetically modified organisms that we are referring to here in Nigeria are transgenic. That means genes are exported from other organisms across species barriers into organisms that they were not supposed to be there or naturally. For example, genes that confer the ability of a snake to have venom can be extracted and inserted in a crop or in any other organism that will confer that ability in that organism. So genetically modified organisms in this context, as we are discussing today, are being banned by other countries that are even more advanced in research than us. For example, according to World University Ranking, the 7 best universities in Africa, 6 of them are in South Africa. The 7th one is in Cairo in Egypt. And just a few days ago, South Africa Supreme Court of Appeal reversed their approval on GMO maize. And the research facilities in South Africa and in Cairo are far more, better than the research facilities we have in Nigeria, in our universities. Now, the question is this. On the plane of health, GMOs have recorded scientific proof
to be adversely affecting the health of consumers. In the United States of America, where GMOs are being used, their health is not correct. And you can listen to the news. You can listen to the news. They are complaining.
Order, please. Order, please.
The international agency on the United Nations agency has labeled some of the GMOs as probably carcinogenic. That means they cause cancer. On the issue of economics.
Thank you, bro. Already, you are given 5 minutes, and your 5 minutes is over. That's why I say you should go to your point.
Yes, I have.
The only issue in your presentation, the only thing that I'm not convinced poverty with is the way you say that the facilities we are having in South Africa and
Thank you very much, sir. All protocol observed.
My brother, 5 minutes.
Firstly, I attended the 7th annual conference of the NPMA 2 weeks ago, and they stated in the conference that their laboratories were going to be ISO certified. And I stand to say here that we don't have more than 3 ISO certified laboratories here in Nigeria. And I'm wondering which of the laboratories were certified enough to carry out GMO experiments in Nigeria. Number 2, risk assessments. We have asked many of them several times for risk assessments, and they never provided it to us. And that's because the risk assessments that was used in Nigeria from information from NDLA is from the FSA assessment, which is for drugs for 2 years. And 2 years is not enough to evaluate the impact of GMOs on our health, on our environment, and also generally. Because there's sufficient proof that in the 16-year research in Canada that shows that the use of pesticide increased by 244% when they kept using GMO crops. And I'm happy that she stated that pesticides cause cancer because they really cause cancer. There's sufficient research. There is a republished research by Professor Sorolini that proves that GMOs cause tumors and cancers. And you see, I also, starting from the conference I attended, all the promotion, NDLA is supposed to be a biosafety organization, but all the speakers that spoke at the event were all promoters of GMO. So much so that OFAB was sharing conference materials at such an event. That is similar to a referee scoring goals. The referee is now the one officially taking free kick in the match because NDLA is supposed to be a neutral organization. There are only 2 of us.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want us to go to this. We are not in this hall. We are not in the hall whereby if somebody or this is the people house. We are the serious business. So we have to conduct ourselves in a mature way. Issue of collaborating or something of that nature, that's what we are not here for. We are here to work for the best interest of our country, and we should be serious about what we are doing. So, the next presenter is Professor Siri Potoke. Professor Siri. And Rob, you only have 5 minutes. What was great your presentation? I believe you have the submission before the committee here.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so those highlight of what you have submitted here.
Thank you, sir. I've listened very carefully to all the presenters. And I want to congratulate the gentleman that moved that motion. I'm a professor of genetics. And I want to believe that if you assess the whole of this hall, we are very few, even across the world and in this nation, we are not up to 20 professors of genetics. So I'm going to talk as a geneticist. Number one, classifying an organism as a genetically modified is fraud. Because what they did was not genetic modification. If you want to do genetic modification, there is a sample. I've seen a sample with somebody there carrying a bag. Telomeres, they have written their hybrid. Hybrid has father, has mother. So you bring the father and the mother to give birth to the child. But genetically modified organisms, we are told, is produced by certain persons who have that belief that they want to achieve a certain purpose. And they brought bacteria and include bacteria inside fruit. Number one, if you see all the pictures on your Google, you see fruits of apple, you see all the genetically modified fruit. You see fruit. Fruit is not an organism. We are scientists. Fruit is a part of the organism that is the plant. So if you want to modify, you modify from the plant. You marry them together. You carry reproductive characteristics or parameters and merge them to arrive at a desired substance that you call a hybrid. What they have and what the world has presented to us as genetically modified food is cooked bomb that will blow when you take it, because there is an entity that is incubated inside, that when you take it, and let me tell you, Mr. Chairman, sir, that every factor that will arrive at genetically modified food is not bacteria. That is a scam. It comes from heavy metal. And let them eat it. For those of them who are talking about it, let them eat it and see what it will do to them. And the result will be open. Genetically modified food are baked population control factors. I know they will say, what do they classify us as? They give us names. Conspiracy theories. I was one of the #1 conspiracy theories in COVID-19. And I mentioned it that when COVID rests, another one will come. The next one is GMO. GMO has come. Do you know why it's going to succeed? Because it's food. And it's going to affect everybody. I am a professor of genetics trained in Nigeria and in Israel. I trained in Israel University. And I'm an Edo man with doctrine from truth. Genetically modified food and food that will explode. Thank you very much, sir.
The next presenter is Professor Nash. Professor Nash. Is Professor Nash from the lawyer? Professor Nash. Okay, in the absence of Professor Nash, where is he? Okay, so before he came, he did another thing. Go down.
Interactive, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, the professor here has the floor. And the chairman protection.
Thank you, Chairman. Please.
So please, I advise everybody should have questions and listen. Time will be given to everybody. If you have anything that you want to talk. But while it's only, nobody's allowed to talk. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Chairman, for protecting me. The other issue I want to address here is the regulatory roles that NAMA play. From our observation, NAMA is just a sandbox to regulatory and to other to promoters. Because most of the conferences, as my colleague earlier stated, most of the conferences organized by NAMA.
You have only 2 minutes.
I'm coming, sir. I'm coming.
Only 2 minutes.
Okay.
So just go straight to the point of what you want to tell the committee.
Okay. What's
depending on this?
Because of the impact of GMO.
they were buying seeds, and the implication was that these seeds, immediately after planting, they cannot be used again. And they were spending. That gave them a big, high level of indebtedness, and farmers started committing suicide. It was that the seed of suicide rather than the seed of life. To me, there is no point talking about GMO modified foods. Thank you.
Thank you for your brief submission.
The next presenter is Joy Brown. Joy, is Joy around?
Joy, you only have 2 minutes. Only 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So our views represent the views of leaders from Nigeria. And so far, all the people who have spoken are mostly elders, so permit me to represent the young people in our country. And I want to re-emphasize on the impact of biodiversity. Biodiversity is life, is the foundation of our food, the foundation of our life. And GMOs have serious implications on biodiversity. Over 80% of GMOs so far are said to be designed as herbicide-tolerant GMOs. That's linked to the poison we saw by Samarian hold. Many of them, those 80%, are designed to withstand the application of that pesticide. That pesticide does not only destroy the target weeds, it also destroys very beneficial microorganisms in the soil. The populations of bees in the US and other places have been seen to reduce over time since the application of these herbicides on the farm. And we need to also note that these herbicides are produced by the same companies, the very companies manufacturing these GMOs. Now, also to let us know that it's way more than 3 crops that are approved. Even if we're talking about commercial production, there are actually 4 varieties, 2 varieties of cow, 1 of cotton and 1 of maize. And the fact that there's no report of risk assessment on the website of the NBMA, there's no proof that the NBMA has done any independent long-term risk assessment. She mentioned how applicants should submit risk assessment that they have done. We shouldn't depend on the risk assessment that the person who wants to introduce these crops has carried out. There are also products that are brought in for use for food, feed, and processing. So it's not just about the rows we are planting. There are three crops, soy, wheat, and I think maize are brought in for food, feed, and processing. Those also enter our food chain. This document contains over 50 different products, processed foods that are imported into the Nigerian market, in our supermarkets. Everyday foods, cereals, vegetable oils, noodles, cake mixes, syrups, different kinds of foods. That are actually labeled to contain genetically modified ingredients. How many of us in this room know that there are crops like that, foods like that in our supermarkets?
Thank you, Joy. I hope you have said it all.
I've not finished. I have more to say.
You have said it all.
No, I say I have more to say.
Can I give you only additional 1 minute to say it?
Yeah, so what?
Okay, only 1 minute now to round up. 1 minute to round up.
It's not coming up. Right, so we want to really emphasize the fact that there are alternatives. Because we're saying only one, that Nigeria's population is increasing, there's climate change implication, there is food insecurity. To solve this, the farmers, the people have the solutions. Solutions are with the people. There's organic agriculture that is helping to actually address why we have these problems in the first place. That is what our government should focus on. How to revitalize our soils and ensure that our people are in control of how food is produced. That is what we call food sovereignty. We GMOs.
Thank you, Laura. You know, because we represent gender sensitive, that's why we allow you to talk. Thank you for your
and the young people.
Okay, you want to present that thing off?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
So the last presenter
Armstrong. Is it Armstrong? Only 5 minutes. It's Armstrong.
I stand on an existing protocol. I have a feeling that some of us are thinking we are in a novelty match between the pro and against GMOs. We are on a serious matter here. In fact, I lost my father a few days ago. That is why I'm appearing like this. And as the only son, I have a lot on my head. But I came here because this issue is important and dear to me. And I would like, before I proceed, there is somebody that spoke about how they made the GMOs here. And I would like to ask the person two questions. Who is the holder? Are those seeds patented? That's the first question. And if yes, who is the holder of those patents? Because I want to talk about how there is a hidden cost, economic cost to these GMOs. Because somebody spoke about the person who controls your food, controls your life. And if, as a matter of fact, we remove the issue of the health issue, the economic issue is too big to ignore. And I want us to understand clearly that monopolies are always a danger to an economy. And GMOs now, there are very few companies or institutions that have the capacity to make GMOs. And then now, if we are going to go the way of GMOs, how are we going to avoid the issue of monopolies? Because as we speak, the people who are invested in this technology want some form of payback from it. So it's not free, it's not for the Christmas.
Thank you, Armstrong.
Yes.
Please try and round up additional 1 minute for you. Round up 1 minute. Just go straight to what you want to say. Just go straight to the point.
Yeah, I'm asking, as a matter of fact, I want to ask this Honorable House to make a law to ban GMOs for the next 25 years until we have the capacity to do anything about it.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Professor Johnson Ikebere. Is Professor Johnson here? Okay, what's up from there?
Let him come here.
Huh? Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, okay. Okay, you can come from where you are. And you're only giving only 3 minutes.
Could you give me 5 minutes, please? Please.
Okay, you're giving 5 minutes. Thank you.
You have my memo titled GMO crops products does not serve the Nigerian public. You already have it. I just want to say 1 or 2 things about myself, and I will go straight to 4 things. First of all, I want this House to know that I was part and parcel of the negotiation of the Cartagena Protocol, the basis of which all of this discussion is going on. This was more than 30 years ago. Secondly, I was the executive secretary of the OAU for many, many years, and therefore I know the origin of all of this that is being discussed. Third, I was prevailed upon because of those past experiences when I retired, that I should please come and be the pioneer chairman of the National Biosafety Committee, which gave birth to the agency that we're talking about now. I want to tell you that what I had, or what we had, in the original document that was presented to the Ministry of Environment is not all included in what they are implementing today from the Biosafety Agency. It has been mutilated, it has been negotiated, and it has been compromised. Why? What we did was too complex, and therefore it cannot be implemented in the interest of the international community against Nigeria. At the time that I was chairing that committee, my interest was Nigeria and not the international community. So,
thank you.
I'm not giving, please.
Thank you for
just listen, sir.
Thank you for this wonderful submission.
I
Can you just give me 1 more minute?
Prof, you know, we have two technical sections. And we are just on the first technical section. The time is not already. You have made your submission, I believe.
You see, let me say to this house, I was dragged here.
Okay, I'm giving you an additional 2 minutes, Prof.
2 minutes, 2
No,
minutes.
no, that one.
Okay, good. Thanks for complying, Prof. Sorry about that. The next speaker, the All Farmers Association of Nigeria. Are they around? All Farmers Association of Nigeria.
Yes.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, honorable members, the honorable minister, and everybody here. I'm tired and hoarse. I am telling everybody here that my background is science and that I embrace biotechnology that leads to genetic engineering. And I have invested in agriculture and in science. And I know that we are in this hall with this fund because of science. If there was no science, we would not be sitting here and be seeing each other. This place is too big to be roofed by conventional means. Nigeria's population, somebody said, would be 400 million in 24 years. We will need to feed everybody. Today, at 230 million, we are grappling to feed ourselves. There is an innovation that would make it a lot easier for people. Some people from the background of science and professorship have said one thing, but I am asking, what is their stake? Are they pro-people or are they against people? If you eat and die, it's better than not to eat and die. So I propose.
Order, please, order. All Farmers Association of Nigeria.
Yes, sir.
All Farmers Association of Nigeria.
Yes, sir.
You only have 2 minutes to round up. Only 2 minutes.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I am happy that everybody reacted to what I said. The point I'm trying to make here is, you at the high table, those of us here on the lower ground, and the population outside this wall must eat food. And Nigeria must be able to feed itself for there to be governance and livability. It is good that some people ask questions and they want clarification. But I was privileged to listen to so many people, to read a lot of things, and to make some investments. I have not seen anywhere where they established a nexus between GMO and any disease. You must be able.
Thank you, my brother. Your time is over.
Thank you.
Your time is over. Okay, already you have made the submission to the committee.
No, I have not. The committee invited us only yesterday.
Okay, so if you have anything that you want to submit that can add one or two to the day today, you are free to do that.
Okay, I will do that. Thank you. Thank you.
So the next people to speak is the Nigerian Institute of Food Science and Technology. Are they around? Okay, come here and speak up. Please, you have to be brief. No, you have to be very brief, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to say that at the Nigerian Institute of Food Science and Technology, I can understand where this is of interest to us. just want to quickly say that science does not run away from challenges. Man would not be flying in the air today if we were bogged down by the challenges of putting an aeroplane in the air. So, on that premise, I want to say that yes, there are challenges with GMOs, but science will not run away from these challenges. Problems are meant to be solved. What we need to do is to have stronger collaboration on research. Two, to make haste slowly. Let us not quickly adopt what was being sent to us. Let us also develop and be convinced that the problems associated with these GMOs are such in the Nigerian environment. There are many research institutes working on these things, and we should allow them to do their research. There should not be any hurry in adopting any GMO or for any crop. Two, we should also send the regulatory framework. Whatever comes in, there are many agencies doing things independently. Let them come together, there should be a union, so they can communicate with each other, and then be able to employ the force necessary to be able to do things that will benefit Nigeria, but should not be put off by the problem that we're hearing. And then we should be transparent in what we do, so that the farmers and the general public can guide along in what the researchers are doing. And then, of course, we have to safeguard the interest of the farmers. All right? We must give them seeds that must lead down sustainability in agricultural production in Nigeria.
Thank you, Didi. You have to be brief, already. You are not brief. And also, you have ground up.
Thank you, sir.
Just ground up. Give you only 1 minute ground up. Because others are ready to make their own.
Thank you very much, sir. This means that we can now set and we should set targets that we want to achieve by all those interest groups that are working, researchers that are working on these subjects. But we should not be put off or be discouraged by what we are hearing about it. We would do research and let research tell us what to do without any inhibition. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, already you have made a presentation. You have elaborated your presentation. Thank you. Then the next is all Cedar Seed Association of Nigeria.
Yes, sir.
Cedar Seed Association of Nigeria. Are they around?
I'm here.
Okay, you have only 3 minutes to make your presentation. Please go straight to your friends. Go straight to what you want to say. And I believe you have been with your submission to the committee.
No, sir.
Huh?
No.
You have not? Yes. Have you made all you have done?
We have not gotten the notice.
Okay. So if you, after your presentation, if you have anything that you want to submit and I record, you are free to do that.
Mr. Chairman, sir, I speak on behalf of the seed industry in Nigeria. Simply put, we want development for the farmers. Farmers in Nigeria are having problems. Productivity is low, poverty is high, and we need a solution for farmers to develop their capacity for production. You agree with me, in rural areas, there's a problem. We have to provide seeds, high-quality seeds, to produce enough food for Nigeria. The minister said it. In the next decade, 100 people, you have no plan. Science is there. Our investors are doing something good. And I think we should support them. This debate can continue, but the bottom line is think about the Nigerian farmers.
Please don't go straight to what you want. Make your position clear.
Our position is very clear. What is happening now is beneficial to us, to the state industry, and it's something good in Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you. The next is the Nigerian Council of Food Science and Technology. Nigerian Council of Food Science and Technology. Are you the DGO that is representing the DG? Registrar, you have 2 or 3 minutes. Go straight to what you want to say.
Okay.
Mrs. Veronica Nkechi is the Registrar CEO of the Nigerian Council of Science and Technology. The council is a new one established to regulate the practice and profession of the food science and technology professionals in Nigeria, meaning that we regulate the human beings that have work on food scientific matters in Nigeria, including the genetically modified organisms. Our position is slightly a little bit different because we lend our support to the presentations made by the Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, that of the Biosafety Management Agency, and the Biotechnology Development, Research and Development Agency, including the very last one, Nigerian Institute of Science and Technology, and all the others that have looked at this GMO from the objective point of view. Our position is that the safety issue of the approved GMOs, especially the ones in Nigeria, need to be followed by every stakeholder who must take advantage of the food experts, especially in the area of testing and assessment of the GMO in the primary food production, processing, and the use of non-genetically modified organic materials, so that to avoid harm to Nigerians. So the food professionals must be involved in testing and assessment of genetically modified organisms in Nigeria, and that the safety tests must take adequate cognizance of short, medium, and long-term plausible effects. So food professionals should be involved.
Thank you, sir. Your time is over. I think this one you have done made that submission to us already.
We have.
You have done submission to the committee. Okay, now what do you have anything outside that you want to tell us?
Yeah, just want to conclude.
Okay, you are giving 1 minute to conclude.
Okay, so we want the food professionals involved to be involved in all regulatory and research agencies, just like I mentioned earlier, so that they can evaluate both food and even the non-food genetically modified organisms for safety and be sure that there's no indirect connection to food. Thank you.
The last but not the least is Professor Professor is he around here?
Yes, I'm here, sir.
Where? Okay, you want to speak from there, huh? Okay, you can go ahead.
The mic is not coming up.
Come here. Come here. Bro, we are giving only 2 minutes.
Sorry, sir. Please, what's happening? Sorry, Mr. Chairman, sir. I'll use more than 2 minutes, please.
Okay, you are giving 3 minutes.
Thank you.
And go straight to your point. Don't
yeah, just to start, I don't know, this is coming on and off. Okay, just to start by saying that genetic modification is a natural phenomenon. I think the minister alluded to that in his statement. And it is a natural process. There is natural selection which is a normal thing in life. So genetic modification is not something that is new. I think that's one basic point that I need to make. And all that we are doing in modern biotechnology is trying to do what happens in nature. And I think that should allay any fears. Then secondly, I am a professor of plant breeding and genetics. and I have been the president of the Genetic Society of Nigeria for 6 years. And we must listen to experts. This house must be guided by experts, because misinformation from non-experts can be harmful to us as a nation. I stand here to say boldly that I was hearing someone introducing himself as a professor of genetics that I have never met in any conference, anywhere. As a professor of genetics, who has been... Now, in addition to that, sir, lastly,
ladies and gentlemen, we are not here like we have earlier said in our welcome address as seeking to incite anybody. We are here on a serious business. You understand? So what we are expecting from you is something that has related to what was before us.
yes, Mr. Chairman.
Please, if you want to continue talking, just you should know that you are just talking to us something relating to what was before us here, not to insult or incite.
Sorry, I'm not insulting anyone. Now, lastly, sir, I have participated in the National Biosafety Technical Committee, as well as the National Biosafety Committee. And it is a rigorous process that as scientists, we base every recommendation on its merit. And I can say boldly here that in all the reviews, without any sentiment, we have acted professionally as scientists. And I think the last thing I would really want to say is that this house owes us scientists the duty to see that there is improved funding so that we can step up our research in this area, because this is the future of Nigeria.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I think we have come to the... No, anybody that has any submission that you are not... Bro, I'll just give you 1 minute because I don't want to be seen as if I'm not a gender sensitive. I'll give you 2 minutes.
Thank you very much, sir. My name is Rachel Soto, and I'm a farmer, and I've been farming for 20 years in Nigeria. I currently am working as the ED of Niger Foods, and we are doing a revolution for agriculture in Nigeria. I have teller maize with me here. This is from our harvest this year.
Can you bring it here?
Yes, sir. And I have eaten PBR cowpea for two plus years, and I've eaten teller. And I have planted it, and it has grown again. And all the farmers with me and around me buy the seeds. And in fact, some farmers refuse to buy the seeds. They replant the old one, and it's all growing. Honorable Chairman, as I sat here, I was almost weeping. Because the reality that is upon us in Nigeria is that there is no food. We are harvesting maize. We harvested maize, and maize is at 63,000 naira per bag at harvest. Soya beans is 98,000 naira per bag. We are in a very difficult... Beans is 115,000 per bag. The reality that is upon Nigeria is that there is hunger in the land. We do not have time for misconceptions. Sir, I have advocated for GMO for 8 years. I have gone everywhere and learned it. I have seen the research to be convinced whether it is good or bad.
The truth of this matter is a lot is not being said. PBR cowpea was given to Nigeria royalty free. Farmers are not paying anything. Seed Council is here. It is Nigerian seed companies that are growing all these seeds. There is no foreign company that is, apart from Mahiko, that is doing BT cotton. PBR cowpea and Tella is being developed and grown by Nigerian seed companies. They are the ones who are selling it. It was produced by Nigerian scientists and given to us. I want to say that there is so much confusion and misconception. But I ask.
Thank you, my sister. I believe you have said all you want to say. And you know, you didn't make your presentation earlier.
Yes.
Because seeing you as a woman, yes, and I want to be seen as a gender friendly, that's why you are giving up.
Thank you, and I appreciate it.
What you want to say.
Thank you, sir. I will make my submission. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Everybody should take a seat. So, at least we have had a long presentation. And you know, please do take your seat. Take your seat. I made a submission. Take your seat. Take your seat. Anybody that is not here to have his hair, I believe you have made your submission earlier to the committee.
I would like to make a comment, Mr. Chairman.
No, don't worry. The committee will consider already you have the submission before. The submission will be considered. The committee will sit down. You understand? We will go through all the submission held to the committee.
Mr. Chairman.
And if you need to arrive, since your name and address was in your submission, we will invite you, my brother. Have a little session. Enough has been said. And I want to please people to know that we have another section to go in. Because we have to issue two motions before us. So we are still on one motion. And now, if you have anything that you want to submit to us regarding to what we are just discussing about, please move on. If you have anything that you want to submit to the committee regarding this particular issue we are just discussing, you are free to do that. Okay, then in the absence of, you want to submit something? Okay, bring your submission. No, you have submitted. Okay, and you have address and your submission and your telephone number. If need be, we will contact you. The secretary will contact you. Show it to you. How about you want to have something? Okay, we will contact you because we have many submissions and we can't take them all. Thank you. Honorable colleagues, our guests, we had enough presentation from government agencies, NGOs, and individuals who have something from the book regarding to the issue before us. Now it's time for question and answers. So the question, nobody is allowed to ask question from who is not a member here. Only members was allowed to ask question. Only members. Only members. The decision is yours. Now, the law is open to, no, everybody will answer. Just that the law is open to have it. And refer to the motion, whoever you want to ask.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, my co-chairman, and my honorable colleagues. My question is straight because of time. I want to specifically want to know the measures. This one, please, Prime Minister. The measures that will take in the part of the measure that we put in place to ensure that the risk assessment for GMOs in Nigeria are conducted with transparency, scientific rigor, and independence, addressing concerns raised by the Canadian regulatory process.
that the question?
Yeah, that's the question.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Honorable, you can ask your question.
Thank you very much, distinguished Honorable Chairman, distinguished Honorable colleagues. Mr. Chairman, before I ask my question, let me just make this brief intervention. Yes, a lot has been said here, and of course, our agencies of government, to a large extent, have become key promoters of GMO. Mr. Chairman, it is true. The Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Food Security is here. Honorable Minister, to a large extent, we know that you have performed very well in revolutionizing agriculture in the country. Now, the issues raised about the food security, the future of the country, you have been distributing fertilizers, tractors, and all of that to farmers across the country. We believe that is one of the right ways to go. On this issue of GMO, sir, there is a huge disconnect between the stakeholders and the people. More than 4 times, we have had to address protesters in front of this parliament, Nigerians who came here to say no to GMO. It was part of that that necessitated the motion on the floor of the chamber of this parliament before today's public hearing. I want to put forward 2 questions before our experts that are here, the government agencies and regulatory bodies that are here. You people have taken us to other countries, because the best that I know, I just returned back from South Africa yesterday, and I know that in South Africa, in Zimbabwe, in Zambia, and the countries around that region, the people are against GMOs. The farmers are crying that their original crop, that they didn't have to pay, that they didn't have to use fertilizer, to develop, have been taken away from them, and the yield is no longer what it used to be. We have not addressed that concern as a nation, and now we want to adopt that system that many persons who have tried it have said has failed them. So my number 1 question to any of the government agencies here is to stand up and point and name 5 scientific equipment that are used to determine the safety of these GMOs, the ones that we use in this country, so that this parliament will know, and Nigerians will know that this equipment that we have in Nigeria are used to test the safety of these GMOs, and they are truly better than the ones used in those countries. Secondly, I'm aware that some of the providers of this GMO, one by the name Monsanto, has even sued farmers in some other parts of the world. Farmers who use GMOs, and they said that there was unintentional contamination. In the event, for any reason, for any intent and purpose, if this parliament, because to a large extent, the consensus that has been built around here is that Nigerians are saying no to GMOs. I do not see parliament saying otherwise, because this is the people's house, we will not say otherwise. But in the event that we are even thinking, what is the guarantee that the providers of this GMO, government will not allow them to come and sue our farmers? And lastly, Mr. Chairman, sir, 2 weeks ago I was in the United Kingdom. Everything that our leaders here from the various agencies have advertised, there's something you have failed to do. Somebody has told us here that it is better to eat and die. For me, if going to eat and die is going to be the purpose why I will die, I will better remain hungry than to eat that thing and die. And in this case, even though that there is hunger in the country, the situation is not that too bad, that people no longer have what to eat, that to the extent that they will not have to eat something and die the next day. I want to disagree with that. Lastly, in developed countries, when you go to food stores, the GMO products are tagged for those who want to eat and die, to buy it and die. Here in Nigeria, Mr. Chairman, sir, our regulatory agencies have not put any measure in place for Nigerians to make that choice to eat and die. So our regulatory agencies in this regard, Mr. Chairman, sir, without any fear of promotion, I want to say they have failed us. They have failed this parliament, and they have failed our people. That's why Nigerians are here, they're angry. So, Mr. Chairman, sir, we should not allow these agencies to continue to promote this syndrome of eat and die. Our people will not eat and die, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much, sir.
Please, ladies and gentlemen, what you have done now is not allowed in the parliament, please. You have to be very careful. Understand? Anyhow, we have said that we are a serious business.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So my questions are a few. I'm going to start by listing out a list of some countries. And I'd like the honorable colleagues and the audience to think about the differences in these societies and for these societies to have all banned GMOs. Before I get to my question. So France, Germany, Italy, many countries fully ban GMOs. Now we're talking about something that will affect the future of Nigerians. And we have a duty of care. We are not against science, we are not against technology. We adopt science and technology. At this stage, what we're saying is that we should adopt these things with caution for the future and the sustainability of our society. Mr. Chairman, we have heard a lot about GMOs today, people speaking for and against. My question is, from having heard everything we've heard today, are the risks outweighing the benefits of GMOs for Nigerians? Yes, we are hungry, but do we rush to what will kill us over a sustained period of time? Do we slowly and accurately, using the same science we're speaking about, engineer solutions by Nigerians, for Nigerians, right? To be consumed by Nigerians? I think this is really important. And then the last question I have is that given the extensive record of fines and violations against Monsanto for environmental damage and ethical misconduct, how can the Nigerian public be assured that similar issues won't occur with GMO production in Nigeria? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Shara. Is there any other question from your side? Anyone? You want to ask a question? Okay, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I want to concur with my last two colleagues on this issue of GMO that we as representatives of the people of Nigeria and the people's house, we have to be very, very careful in taking or rushing into accepting what has not been ratified globally. Why did I say so? I listened very keenly and carefully to the people from the side of the government. There are 99% of them on the same lane, talking and being and accepting on the same lane. The answer is, why is it that when they give their presentation, they do not come to us as a house with a scientific proof and a research in order to convince or debunk some of us that are against or have a questionable, insight about them. All they are saying is their military, methods, what they have done, what they want to do, but they are not tentative, accurate, purposeful, research, presented before this honorable house to this conclusion. We have searched for this from this time to this time. This is the result. This is our fears. This is what we have done as regards to that has not been done. I agree with somebody that spoke from one of the agencies. While he was in the middle, I agree with him. Since now this question is in the public domain and everybody is G2, we from the side of the government and the people we are working for, it is good, Mr. Chairman, to ask the government to make
deliberate attempt to focus attention to this issue of GMO. First, my recommendation is to increase budget for those. Lastly, thank you. Question and answer, I agree, because I'm overwhelmed. Maybe in the time, because of time, we'll talk to the chairman or how we can improve to our agency budget for us to increase or to improve on our research and development, so that we can come up with more accepted.
Thank you, Honorable. Thank you, Honorable. Yeah? Okay. Then Madam Morin, ask your question.
Thank you. Chairman. And my question is to agencies. I want to know if they consider the potential long-term environmental consequences of the GMO as regards to our soil health. And the second one is how do we ensure that we don't lose our seeds? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Asaro.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I would have loved to adopt a different engagement pattern if you were approved. I know you said you should take questions down and provide answers. Experience has shown that they collect our questions, but they only provide answers they are confident in. Mr. Chairman, if you give me 5 minutes, I want to engage them. So they answer my question. If I have a follow-up question, I will ask. Mr. Chair, I'm not pretending.
Honorable Billy, just go straight to the first question now, maybe on the process of answering.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before I start, I would like to, this is more like a disclaimer, because I have a submission here by a professor, and he was never called, the professor Zakari Angabudu. And this submission made a lot of sense, Mr. Chair. Since he wasn't called, I would like to adopt his submission and ask his questions, if I'm permitted. Number one, it said, do we have capacity and laboratory facilities in Nigeria that can guide us to simply follow the GMO science for the benefit of our people, instead of depending on foreign laboratories and technologies? Do we? Does anybody want to answer me from the agency? Do we really have that? Then second question here, with the money for the GMO research and technology, it is not coming to us in Africa, but to scientists and groups in the north. How can we ever know when GMO technology and research is turned against us in Nigeria and Africa? How can we through research and development ensure that we do not lose our biodiversity and our seed and food system? Mr. Chairman, why I really adopted this? Because I see that there is a big disconnect between our agencies and our experts, the professors that came out, and it's like 99% of the experts are on one side, and 99% of the agencies are speaking for. And it's so heartbreaking.
Honorable Asaro,
Mr. Chairman,
maybe I should just
okay.
Yeah, maybe as a follow-up question, if time can permit, you will be allowed to ask. Just put full stop to that question. Maybe allow somebody again to ask his question.
As Chair,
thank you. Honorable.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, distinguished colleagues. First, I want to appreciate the Honorable Minister for the comment he made, the position of this matter of GMO. Even though the agencies that have spoken are practically spoken in favor of GMO, what I see here is that there is a huge disconnect between the agencies of government and the people, the Nigerian populace, that this GMO that we're talking about will grossly affect. I understand our responsibility here. This is an investigative hearing,
I wouldn't want to go into much issues because at the end of the day, we are going to come out with the reports. We have heard from all sides. If there are more information, I will urge you to, furnish this committee with all the information you have, because these are arguments for and against. At the end of the day, we will take the decision that will best affect the Nigerian people. Because today I'm here, tomorrow I might not be, in the parliament. And if you take any wrong decision, it will be, the people that will also be affected by the decision that is taken by this parliament. So I urge everyone to put forward all arguments, and we will look at it, also considering the world best practice, and see what is good for our people. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman. Okay, actually, okay, you want to ask a question? Come on, ask.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, my question will border on the GMOs. But I want to first of all appreciate the author, the initiator, that think in-depthly to make sure we have enough food to eat in this country. Because there is no doubt that we are suffering and there is hunger. But my concern will be on the safety and the long-term health impact of consuming GMO, particularly in the light of studies suggesting potential adverse effects. How do we now guide against this so that we can be best assured that consuming GMOs will be very, very safe for Nigeria? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Honorable. I think the last person to ask the question is my deputy. Okay, you can ask now.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My other colleagues present. My question is, if the DNA of an organism that is either a plant or an animal is changed, it will affect the original features of the plant or the animal. By doing so, there are a lot of problems or likelihoods of infusing factors that may be harmful. So this is what all of these speakers are saying, and the members here have spoken a lot of it. And my colleague on the high table here has spoken a lot on that. I want to know now, what will be the effects of these harmful things or changing the organisms of the plants or animals? Thank you.
Thank you. I don't. Thank you. Okay, the last question is coming from my deputy. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, my question was Madam for biosafety measures. Yes. Can I ask you, do you have a website? You do. What's the website? How often do you use your website? Sorry, I didn't get you. You keep up with it? Yes. Sorry, Honorable Minister, I will just plead that if we can have an assessment of GMO risk report, maybe next for the committee, so that let us also guide them. They are under environment.
The other direction is our new director, so they are still under you. So that direction. You've said the solution to us. Sorry, you know, I would ask a much question as the deputy chairman. We are like beside when my godfather is here. I will take it easy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, my deputy chairman. Okay, I believe almost all the question was asked now. What motion shall I ask? Okay, you know, the same shall go. So we allow this.
Thank you so much.
Be very brief for the question. So that I believe.
My question is to the LBM. So you had spoken about your collaboration with NAFTA and how NAFTA and LBMA and how we're working together. I'm just taking a quotation from the article in the tabloid on the 19th of September 2024. NAFTA expressed some concern, some caution over GMOs. It says NAFTA's cautionary stance is also shaped by its role as the guardian of public health. The agency is concerned about the long-term health and environmental effects of GMOs, stressing that Nigeria must proceed in this direction with caution to protect its citizens from potential risks. I wanted to know, Madam, if you had time to see that article, or have you got any comments about that?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Okay, like Gideon said, actually all the question was asked. The question was referred to the respective agencies and who has the knowledge to answer the question. While answering the question, I want to urge the ladies and gentlemen who are here. The questions and the process nobody was asked to slap or shout or anything. The question was asked by us and we are expecting the answers. Because through the answers, maybe it will help us while making our own report. We will do something that at least at the end of the day will help be the best interest of our country. So I don't want to hear anybody maybe countering anybody who is on the process of answering any question. I will allow maybe just minister to just give one person to ask. Other question maybe that was asked, the answers can be written and write and sent to the committee. Maybe we can help with if you have something that you don't want to say, just say it briefly so that we can go into the second section. All answers regarding to the question that was raised should be furnished by the relevant agencies, Biosafety, Civil Council, and any other agencies, you had the question that was asked. So we want to answer in written to the Secretariat of the Committee. And any other NGOs, you understand, who had an answer regarding to the question that was asked, you can still furnish the committee. So, Minister, the floor is yours now. Then you can wrap up and conclude so that we can go to the second section.
Thank you very much, Chairman, Honorable distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It's been very worthwhile engagement. I believe we have seen diverse opinions regarding it. And this is what I kept saying. I think it is something that we need to critically look at and see what are those areas that are of concern. When somebody comes out and says this is good, and somebody says it's bad, then the onus is on you to prove that it is bad, or the onus is on the person. This is good because we have certain parameters that we have measured and feel that it is good. But by and large, GMOs have been around for quite a number of years. And by now, we should be able to learn from other clients what they have seen with GMOs. I agree with what Modification has just mentioned, where other countries have banned, then let us look at what are the reasons that they were banned. And let us look at what are ours in the same category that those ones were that they were banned. And like I keep saying, there's a thin line between, genetic modification and hybrid or modification of a seed. We want to improve seeds. What are the improvement of seeds? It's also some kind of science-based technology that has been used. But what are the genetic professionals idea? I think we need to sit down and look at these things together. Not to rush into bringing out something that will eventually come out as harmful. But let's also not be mindful that the narratives that are being sponsored, I have, not today, for the past 10, 20 years, I keep receiving emails about Monsanto, the GMOs, and all that it looks like it's sponsored. What we are saying is, let's sit down, critically, we have our scientists, we have our experts. Let us look at what are the issues involved. I was a bit concerned when the DG of NAFTA mentioned on national TV, on the live program, on again, the Honorable Shagai has just mentioned. I saw it live, and I immediately actually called the peers of VRC, and I was asking, is NAFTA not involved in that? And he told me that NAFTA is on the board. And I was surprised to see the video of NAFTA, who has a representative on the board, speaking differently. But I also share the concern. It's out there. You go to places, you see non-GMO products. I have seen, even on the document that we have issued out some time ago on the importation of food, the criteria is importation of non-GMO, which clearly shows that there's a reason why it is there. So we have to be cautious. I know we cannot also demoralize our scientists, our agencies, in not going into scientifically based research into new products that we can, leverage on because of the challenges that we face in terms of food security. Let us not discourage. I see a lot of aggressiveness and some kind of temper with people that represented the opposition. But I just want to, let's do it in a manner that is constructive. Let us encourage them to do the right thing, not to come out and blame them. It's just like somebody who is preaching for you not to do something. You say, no, you're going to help. You can't be the person to just say it. Do it in such a way that is, in a manner that we can collaborate and come out with meaningful successes because we are faced with challenges. So, Mr. Chairman, the first question I think was from Oversight, but he's not here. Oh, he's there. Okay. I think you asked something about what are the measures that were in place to look at the risk assessment and conduct transparency in all these issues. Biosafety is there that I mentioned those areas, and I've also mentioned in my presentation that we have several agencies in different ministries that are there to protect and and see themselves. But by and large, these are scientists, Nigerian scientists, and like I said, government will not bring up something that will harm its people and citizens. So with this, Mr. Chairman, I would just want to yield the floor to some of the agencies that if they have issues that were raised during the question, they can answer. So thank you very much. Thank
you for your brief you have said something in such a way that at least we have communicated to people that everybody understand the position. Like the earlier said, if we will say we will stay and answer all the questions, then we are going to spend another day here. But all the relevant agencies that the question was asked to them, they say we should write up or maybe instead of reply to those questions, we waited to the Secretary of the Country. Then
now put our scientists to test. I don't think, for me, I'm an agriculturalist, and I have a little knowledge about what we are discussing today. And I do know that when we demonstrate most of our findings from outside, it gives more result than what we see from outside. You know what I'm saying? Now, the research institute from Ahmadu University and other research institutes are now supposed to work. Please, we are all Nigerians, and we are in this one to make Nigeria a better nation. We are in this one because we are faced with the problem. The problem we are faced with is stupid, and together we will see it. Now, we bring up the issue. If we are criticizing an issue, we criticize, you attempt to give solutions. Give solutions so that Nigeria will move forward. We are not only here to criticize. No, we are here to get to a point.
Thank you, Honorable. You have made a very good point. Let me go to the survey. Actually, we have come to the end of the first session. As a committee, what I want to assure you people who made their presentation, those who supported and those who opposed the matter, who set up the technical committee. You understand, we will have with the Minister of Agri so that you can link up with your professional. We will set up a technical committee. A technical committee that we can sit down with them to work together and harmonize all the solutions that we have done. So that at the end of the day, we will come out with something that is going to be for the best interest of our country. We are not here to support or to oppose what was before us. It's for us to do the finding and come up with something that is going to help our nation. And I'm assuring you, we are working towards that. We are not for anybody, rather than we are for something that is going to be good for Nigeria and nothing that is going to be better for Nigeria. On this note, I hereby call on the first session closed. So we are now going to the second section. Second section. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to go out, you should go out. But if you want to stay for the second section, you can stay for the second section.
Oga, sir.
Please, you are disrupting the Honorable Minister. We are going for another section. Please take your seat if you want to sit. If you want to go out, go out. You are disrupting the Honorable Minister. We are
We are going to another section. Sit council. This is sit council. Sit council. Take your seat. Please take your seat. If you want to go out, please. We are going to another section.
Please take our seats. We're going to the next section, please. Please. Let's be all ready. Let's take our seat, please. Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, we are the chancellor.
Honorable colleagues, our guest, Honorable Minister, the head of Pascal, we are going to another technical section. Like I earlier said, we have two issues before us. We just actually concluded the first one regarding to the issue of DMO. The second one is the issue of silence. We have the same motion before us here regarding to the issue of the concession of silence. The motion is as follows. One is need to investigate the organization concession on the federal government silence, which contributes part of the decree for place, foreign, and critical asset as a concession to other individual and private entities. Secondly, to ascertain criteria used for selection of private entities, transparency in the bidding process, to ensure accountability in public administration and upholding principle of fairness and equity. That's what was before us. So like you are aware, we have visited you and we invited you to appear before us and explain the procedures we will use in giving out those values out to the concessioners. In our presentation on the above matter, we have other ministers to make this presentation. We have DG of ICRC, we have DG of public procurement, and we have Chairman Association of Concessioners and representative of beneficiary of silence, concession organization. So, Honorable Minister, I want to invite you to brief the Honorable Committee on what you know about this issue that was before us. Thank you. Yeah, Honorable Minister, I will move our particular.
Thank you very much, Chairman, for the distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Just briefly, let me give a brief background on the concession of the federal government of Nigeria's hydro complexes nationwide. In August 2013, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, then Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, initiated a transaction process to concession the operations of these silos complexes to the private sector. The transaction process was driven by an appointed international transaction advisor, Mr. Then Global Partners, in partnership with CPCS, Transcorp, Benchmark, and in-chief, with the help of World Bank, and follow the guidelines stipulated in the National Public and Private Partnership policies, and the Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission (ICRC) Act 2005. Similarly, in order to ensure transparency of the transaction process, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC), the Department of State Services (DSS), Federal Ministry of Finance, Federal Ministry of Justice, World Bank, the ICRC, and other relevant stakeholders were all involved in the process. The Federal Executive Council approved 20 of the 33 silo complexes for concession in April 2016. And after successful negotiations, 8 bidders were qualified, while 7 finally met the condition precedent for 17 number silo complexes, which were handed over on the 28th September 2020 for the commencement of full operation. The concession term of 10 years. So far, Mr. Chairman, total revenue realized so far is 2,867,303,152 naira 55 kobo. In brief, this is what has transpired at that time. Is there any other questions? I believe ICRC is also here, and also our department in charge of the silos, the director is also here, even though he said that he was an assistant director when he was deputy director, assistant director. We said so. So, but they are all here, Chairman, to answer the concerns and the questions in this investigative area. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. You are giving an overview of basically what you know about the issue. The next presenter is the ICRC. Is the ICRC here?
Yes,
okay. I think you know you are the director.
Thank you, Honorable Chair and Honorable members. With regards to the ICRC is the Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission, which regulates public-private partnerships in Nigeria. Like the Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Food Security has mentioned, the process to engage the concessionaires followed due process. Like he said, it was approved by the Federal Executive Council, and also there was support of the World Bank. The Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security was also represented. There were also NGOs that was part of the committee. So in terms of the procuring of all the concessionaires, it followed due process. And we have made our submissions to the committee. However, we are at the stage of the implementation of the contract agreement. We are at the phase of the implementation of the agreement, the concession agreement. So some of the silos are performing optimally, and the ones in Gombe, Ibadan, and Makurdi, which is being operated by farmers through their SPVs, are functioning properly. And the reason why they're functioning is for the fact that they use these raw materials in terms of the grades to produce their products in terms of various products they have in the market. Now, some are not working in terms of its utilization. So at the end of the day, we have to understand that there are issues in terms of the grains production in Nigeria. So as a result of those challenges, it becomes difficult for other concessionaires to make full use of the silos. So this is one area which I think, based on the compliance of the agreement, is that the ministry should try to look into the challenges, because the challenges cannot be isolated from economic realities. Now, we know that there was a time during this year that the federal government released 42 metric tons, 42,000 metric tons of grains to Nigeria. We know there's a policy of zero import duty on grains, and we know that our farming system in Nigeria is mainly subsistence farming. And also the Ministry of Agriculture is also coming up with various programs like the National Food Security Program. They are also having programs to encourage mechanized farming so that it can lead to a huge production and harvesting of grains, so that most of these other silos can be utilized fully. So our submission is that in terms of the spirit of public-private partnership, that is the essence why the government has partnered with the private sector, is to sit down, look at these challenges, and look at what the ministry is doing now to encourage and increase the productions of grains, so that all the silos that have been under concession can be fully utilized. So that is our position as a regulator. And there are also different types of clauses in the agreement which has to do with stepping rights of the grantor, so that once these challenges can be built into, then, like I said, the programs of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security can help to resolve these challenges. Thank you.
Thank you, the representative of the ICS. The World Olympic Enterprises. See around there? Maybe in Nigeria, any representation from the World Olympic Enterprises. What of the Chairman Association of Constitutionals? Oh, yeah, here. Okay, these are things that you want to tell of regarding this issue.
Very briefly.
Okay.
Good evening, Chairman, other members, stakeholders. My name is Kenneth Sahaniku. I'm Chairman of the Nigerian-African Constitutional Association. The association is a group of members of companies that were the concessionaires for the concession silos that value pronounced by the Honorable Minister and agreed to by the representative of DG ICRC. So we control about 17 to 18 silos, and the total capacity, storage capacity, is about 700,000 metric tons. So our members have been operating these silos for the ones that have been handed over. However, there are ones that have not been handed over, which is the point the DGI, the representative of DG ICRC did make, that some have not been operating optimally. So some have not been handed over, even though those companies have met the necessary criteria. I think we heard that some outstanding things need to be completed at the sites before they are handed over to the operators. So in terms of we the members, we have been operating the silos, and of course the Honorable Minister did mention that we've been, creating some kind of revenues to government. That is on that side. But beyond that, as on the side of representing the association, I also represent one of the companies, which is what will dovetail into the last part of the presentation. Because I'm the CEO of Nigerian-African Commodities. So we are the concessionaires for the Uyo 25,000 metric ton silo complex in Uyo Akwa Ibom State. So we have met all the criteria, we have paid all the fees, but up till now, we've written several correspondences that handover has not happened because we heard some outstanding works are still being done at the site. So we have submitted all documentations, to the memorandum to the committee. So hopefully this will be looked into. So in terms of our prayer, our goal is quickly we should do hand over the silos, and again I will refer to the submission of the representative of the DG, ICRC. The ministry should look at the possibility of enhancing or supporting the concessionaires in order to support adequate food production so that we can have storage of food, storage of grains, which in turn will be released to the market to stabilize the prices of these commodities in support of the food security agenda of the federal government. That is my humble submission, Mr. Chairman.
What do you want me to do now?
So in terms of the ministry now, they say we want them to quickly round up for our own personnel for the Uyo side, finish it up and hand over. Because we are already partnering with the Akwa Ibom State government and the Cross River State government to do farming. In Akwa Ibom State particularly, we're coordinating with about 7,000 farmers to do maize. In Cross River State, the Cross River State government has already allocated about 10,000 hectares of land to us for rice farming. But it is this silo that has not been handed over that is hampering or delaying the commencement or implementation of this program. So that has been a major challenge for us, and all the documentation we have them, we have submitted them along with our the documents in terms of memorandum to the committee. Yes.
Okay, sorry, because I'm a layman of this, but for the presentation you are making, now if I understand, the silos, most of them are not fully completed.
Okay, let me talk of the one that I'm so sure.
Listen, just note the motion. I say if I understand, that from the declaration you are making now, that most of the silos that have been concession are not fully completed.
Yes.
Two, handed over to the beneficiaries.
Yes. Yes.
Three, you want the ministry to complete the silos.
Correct. And then hand over.
Hand over to the people. Okay. Is there any further thing you want to add?
Well, essentially that's it. Essentially. But the other
you are the beneficiaries. You are one of the beneficiaries.
Yes.
You are the beneficiaries of all.
No, I'm just beneficiary of one.
Out
of the whole 18.
Out of the whole 18, all of the two.
No, our own is one.
Out of one.
Out of the whole one.
Okay. Who are the remaining beneficiaries?
There are about 8 or 9 other companies. I think
you are representing the beneficiaries.
The association.
Yes.
That's on one part. But I represent one of the companies that benefited. Yes. So I wear 2 caps. So I was invited, as chairman of the concessionaires and MD of one of the beneficiaries.
Because the point here we are asking the question here, you understand? One is the process of all the concessionaires is in question. One, the process that you that will run giving people the silos of them. That's one.
The process.
Yeah, the process, I think, part of what you are saying.
Which was already highlighted adequately by the minister.
It's one of the things. Then secondly, the beneficiaries, most of them, you understand, they were not using it for the purpose that the silos are giving to them.
Okay, anyway, the rep of the ICRC has already highlighted.
You understand? No, I'm just trying to make it clear to people. Just for you to know that we have a lot of work. And then we are just concluding now.
Correct.
You understand?
Correct.
Okay. Let me just ask some of my members to ask questions. Let me start from Honorable.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, MD, and the Chairman of the Commission. Good. Now, you say you're one of the beneficiaries of the 18 concession silos, and for yours, it's not been handed over, right? And Chairman asked the question, like, are there things you think the ministry needs to do before handing over, maybe completion or something? And you said yes. Chairman, this is where I have a question. Okay. Now, silos were built by federal government. These are critical infrastructures to help agriculture, to boost production and sustain our grains, right? Store them. And now, the belief, which is where we need to start from as a committee, is that these silos have been completed. If I'm not correct, tell me I'm not correct. Now, the federal government can no longer maintain can no longer take the high cost of maintenance of these silos. For whatever reason they choose to concession it to private organizations or management. Now, why do you apply for a silo that have not been completed? On what grounds do you people now this of the level of completion? Because, Chairman, I think there's for somebody to apply to get something and having now gotten it, you are saying that it's not been completed, that the same agency or federal government to complete it before handing over. I need you to make clarity on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Bima. This is a very important and vital observation. Honorable
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. The question raised by my Honorable colleague is very salient and very important to this investigation. Furthermore, something that is actually just of the concession. Now, your person as the chairman of the Concessionaires Association of Nigeria, and then being a beneficiary of this group, puts a lot of question marks and clouds the whole executive process. It will take a lot for you to the concession process. So that's
thank you, Honorable. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. All the world that is said, those three of them, all the world that is said, those three of them are being utilized. Irrespective of where the phone is or where the phone lies, definitely there's a problem. You cannot have this type of lies, definitely there's a problem. You cannot have these facilities, Nigerian money tied down all over the country, and you don't have the money to put it into another to make it work. It lost the government. I think that's the kind of thing I'm seeing here. I don't think we have that kind of issue. The government office, without prejudice to what the truth is, because I don't see the agreement to know clearly who is supposed to finish up the investment. I will expect that before we go into an arrangement, I then put your money down, you know who is going to finish up some of these things. So I think there is an issue there. An issue of investment of government, the whole essence of bringing private sector to it is to make it work. Now it is not working. More than 70% of this is 10% capacity utilization. So it may not be wrong to say that we don't go. I think that's the one
as business consultants, right, being more carried away by their decision to approve GMOs in our country than to prevent the impact of GMOs on Nigerians. This government must take it as a personal responsibility to immediately declare a policy of no to GMO. We would like to see, in the interim, while the argument is even going on, a national moratorium declared that even if they are not convinced that the adverse effects, which majority of the experts have spoken eloquently to, are obvious, even if they still want to go ahead with the investigation, pending when they reach a conclusion. GMO distribution and circulation in Nigeria should be halted. And finally, I also must say clearly that we cannot be a conquered people in our country. Because there is now a perception that you can do to Nigerians whatever you want to do and nothing will happen. And that explains some of the institutional arrogance that we witnessed today. To the point that someone was so audacious to say it is better to eat and die than not to eat and die. For me, that should have been the end of the hearing. So, and the media must ask the committee why they did not insist that NAFDA should be present today. And my position is that NAFDA absence is not a coincidence. What NAFDA did was technically to avoid having to go publicly in collision with sister agencies. Because NAFDA is supposed to be the national agency that guarantees the safety of what we all consume. But because NAFDA has taken a position, okay, on the matter, we would like that position to be properly articulated, which is that GMOs is unsafe, and Nigerians will not be used to put as a trial or as tools of experimentation. That is our position. That is my personal opinion on the matter. Thank you.
Thank you, the gentlemen of the press, and the fellow Nigerians, and fellow Africans, of course. My name is Professor Christopher. I was raised, studied, and I'm working in journalism, a good basket of Nigeria. I want to paint a scenario that we are facing. The historical precedence of the challenge of hunger on our continent, in Africa generally, and in Nigeria has not been an issue of production. It has been an issue of distribution. Today I come from Benue State, a food basket that is becoming empty, not because Benue people are not producing food, not because they don't have GMOs. It's because external and foreign interests have successfully, and I'm saying this boldly to the media and the Nigerians, because I'm a researcher. External interests that are interested in marketing dumping GMOs, which are agents of mass destruction. These are biological weapons. I'm a professor of bioinorganic chemistry. They are pushing insecurity on our nation, sponsoring it clandestinely. And I challenge the national security apparatus to look deeply into, investigate into why our farmers can't go to farms, only to create a scenario of hunger to advertise genetically modified poisons. How many of you have read about COVID? COVID, which was SARS-CoV-2, emanated from a research that is generally known as gain-of-function research. Basically, that is what genetically modified organisms are in agriculture. They are gain-of-function research outcomes. That means these transgenes, they are transgenic, can be manipulated to do exactly what they have been manipulated to do, number one. Whereas our grandparents were having children, our mothers were having children 11, 12, 13, today young Nigerian girls marry and they are jumping from one fertility clinic to another, struggling to get pregnant. Today we have the incidence of juvenile diabetes on the rise. Today we have the incidence of young children, teenagers coming down with high blood pressure, cardiovascular issues. Today, autism is on the rise, and all this has been proven connected to GMOs and the chemicals that come with GMOs. Thank you. It is important that this country unanimously rise to say no to GMOs and encourage our legislators to place a complete ban on GMOs. Thank you.
I'm fine,
I work with the community. Now, I'm aware that there are instances where the so-called regulators have been to actually promote this scam and this policy. Seeing some of those agencies, distributing these so-called GMOs to farmers. Now, how soon are we going to resolve the crisis? Because we are talking about fight against our population. It's a war between the Western world and Africa. So what do you advise us to do, even as Nigerians, even if regulators and government are taking cognizance of it, because maybe it's attached to the loans and what have you they are giving us. What should Nigerians do as fathers, as mothers, as families? What should we do?
All right, thank you very much. Please just answer the question very shortly.
Good. Take it home from here that genetically modified food are engineered. That is easy. Then two, for you to identify it, if it is not labeled, you cannot identify it. Do you know why? Because it's a weapon of destruction. I think during COVID-19, I was the Nigerian professor who declared COVID-19 after 2 days. When World Health Organization declared COVID-19, I was the professor of science who declared COVID-19 as a scam. And I did warn that after COVID, another one will come. And here we are, GMO. GMOs, unless they are labeled, you cannot identify them. Go to your Google and find out samples of GMO. You see ordinary fruit of tomatoes. Then what you see, they will describe is an injection syringe that carries whatever is the material that they are infusing in it. And let nobody be deceived here. There is no way they can engineer genetic products and put inside. It's not genetic products. They are heavy metals. And those heavy metals are geared towards population control. So we must insist that they must label. If they don't label it, you cannot identify it. Then when you eat and die, like he has confirmed.
All right, thank you. And to also answer your question, we need to call on the FCCPC to enforce the labeling laws, because that's the organization responsible for protecting the consumers. We have strong labeling laws in this country that are not being enforced. And see, the thing about labeling is this: Nigeria has not matured to the point that labeling can really work. So we are not actually matured. We are not at the point where we should be embracing GMOs in this country. And that's the long and short. You asked the question about the effect. Have we already seen the effect? The answer is yes. If you read a report from Business Day, 23rd of September, the Cotton Farmers Association said that when they started, when they embraced BT cotton, the seeds were 15,000 naira per kg to plant to plant. Now it's currently 55,000 naira per kg, and you need 4 kg for a hectare. Do the maths. That's 220,000 naira to plant on 1 hectare of farm. Which smallholder farmer can afford that? And they also complain, the cotton farmers also complain that their grounds are now dead, are now barren. They can no longer plant natural seeds of any kind on that ground. And the same farmers also complained that they are not seeing the yield that they were promised. And there's enough history in India to support, because a lot of farmers committed suicide. Cotton farmers committed suicide in India, and that's the trajectory that the cotton farmers in Nigeria were going, and they cried out in that article. You go check it, 23rd of April, 23rd of September in Business Day report.
In addition to what you have said, if you are a farmer, this is research we have seen, you no longer see earthworms. You no longer see termites everywhere. These are the pulverizers. These are the ones that create air pores underneath the soil so that the roots can get enough. These things have been taken out by this ubiquitous application of pesticides and what they call fertilizers, which are really not fertilizers. So these are the effects that are already happening on our ecosystem.
So one last question.
All right. Yeah, from what you said, no, okay. You said you have to convince sponsors that international community. Yes, and in other places, other cases, there are insinuation also that there are people like you still being sponsored to fight against GMO. So are you being sponsored, or why we just take this up?
So the question is, what will Kabir Ibrahim, the president of the All Farmers Association of Nigeria, go and check the bill and regulation. Type All Farmers Association of Nigeria. Type the organization there. They were given $1.4 million. So you can check. Type OFAB inside Bill and Regulation Foundation. Type AATF inside Bill and Regulation Foundation. Download the report. You will see how much they were giving for the promotion of biosafety, for the promotion of biotechnology. You will see all the courses they go to do in all the foreign universities. You will see all the fundings for all those courses. So the same organization sponsors the biosafety, sponsors the technology, and sponsors the regulation, and they jam in the country. Why would they speak the same language? Is that why we are seeing OFAB and the rest of them cutting the NDMA? We complained about it in the hearing just today. We attended the 7th annual conference of the Biosafety Organization in this country 2 weeks ago, and all the speakers that spoke there are promoters of biotechnology. All they were even marketing the next ones to come: cassava, potato, and tomatoes. They were marketing it in that conference. So when the biosafety NDMA, who is supposed to be the regulators, and now the goalkeeper, they are the header and they are the striker, who are supposed to regulate it. I mean, it's a lost cause, and that's the reason why we're here. So you ask if we are being sponsored. You check it. What product do we have that we are selling?
Aside from that, to answer you directly, we are not being sponsored. I'm a professor, a Nigerian from Benue State, a food basket. And for the similar reason that the basket is becoming empty, it's enough cost if this country invested in training me. I end my PhD, I studied up to UK. Only to come and fold my hands and watch the soil destroyed with chemicals that have been promoted by genetically modified organisms in the name of agriculture? No, we are not being sponsored. Like my colleague has said, we are from the Center for Food Safety and Agricultural Research. The mandate of our center is to investigate these things, to research those things. And if we see these things, we have a duty, a national duty, and that is actually the mandate of true science, not procure science.
To round up, for every crash, there must be a motive. What is the motive of this?
In one word, population control. And let me also add to that. You see, since after the World War II, the strategy for warfare changed. Food capitalism is also a strategy. Gain of function. By the time your seeds are patented, who wants the seeds? The seeds are owned by Monsanto and the rest of them. Regenerative agriculture is gone. So before you plant, you have to collect it from them. The same way we lost our independence in energy, it's the same way we will lose our independence with food if we continue this direction. So it's a business. And when you eat this food, you start getting sick. And what happens? You go to big pharma for your drugs, for your insulin and the rest of them. And what are you doing? You are putting money in the pockets of the same people who are sponsoring GMO. So it's a circle of profit for the people that are behind it.
And I think I gave the example on the case study of what's happened in Southern Africa. It's about population elimination, it's about making you sick, it's about attenuating your immunity, and then it's about capturing you economically to make you captive to their seeds that are going to attenuate your economy when you have to buy seeds at 60,000 euros a kg up to 400,000 euros a kg. That will disseminate our economies, and I think that is the most important thing that we have to understand. Remember, Europeans still want to control this continent, and if they can eliminate the populations like they eliminated the American Indians, then it's easy for them to take over.
All right. To clarify, although professors and the scientists who believe direct food in our people, they were stressed on sustainability and also what I want to speak specifically on the sovereignty of our nation. The direction this is heading to would lead us to become dependent on whoever produces this. And that is already a security threat. I believe we have a national security advisor who is tasked with the responsibility of securing the lives of Nigeria. Food security is a #1 priority for any country, and we have to secure our country. There are lots of young people who are very, very concerned about this. And as such, I would call on the National Security Advisor, Malam Nuhu Ribadu, He stressed a couple of days ago, he said that terrorists are taking the president for granted. Please, Malam Nuhu Ribadu, rogue scientists are taking you for granted. And you have a reputation to uphold to. Rise to the occasion and speak for Nigerians. Thank you.
GMOs are regulated because internationally there's a convention called the Cartagena Protocol on Biosafety. It's a question they knew that this has impact on our health, on our biodiversity, and that was the reason they said countries should come together and have a law. It's not a question of if there will be impact, it's a question of when, and we're already seeing it. So there's a biosafety for a reason. The fact that we don't have a biosafety agency in Nigeria, we have the permitting like the issue to pack permits. It's something that our government needs to look into. I think they should just proscribe NAMA and let's have a proper, in fact, we don't even want GMOs. When they ban GMOs, we don't need everything for NAMA. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. My name is Michael Obin. I'm one of the person as my premium. So it's going to be very brief. I was supposed to be a speaker too, but okay, that's fine. I was there today, and I must tell you, everything that happened there was awesome. I love the House of Reps, like we were standing, for us. So the fight is on, and we are not stopping now. We are talking about the dangers of GMO food that was brought to us by the UK. We have to hit the nail on the head. There is somebody championing it. If you don't talk about it, there is a mistake somewhere. And I believe that Minister of Agriculture is corrupt. I wanted to talk there, but of course, I just let me relax myself. I was boiling inside. Because you are defending something that you have not made research about. We don't have a laboratory that can actually check these things to say, this is safe for you to eat. And come on, man, these people are collecting money. They pocketed money, and that is why they are boldly standing and telling you that you can consume this. So please, let's make this fight our own and make sure that GMO food is rejected in Nigeria. Thank you.
And I'm talking about the alternatives. This is interesting. And there has been a Mother Foundation. We ask one question: why are people voting? Is it really because farmers are not producing, or there are other factors? Check factors that contribute to food insecurity and your mobile. You see the responses. GMOs actually address those issues: insecurity, poverty, inequality. GMOs address those problems, or the lack of support of smallholder farmers. So on the alternatives, there are working solutions to food insecurity, solutions that empower the people who actually produce the food that we consume. Studies have it that over 80% of our food comes from the smallholder farmers. So we have a system of agriculture that is on a broad sense known as agroecology, that includes organic agriculture, agroforestry, use of biopesticides and biofertilizers that can actually help us to revive the soils that are degraded and bringing about some of these lower productivity challenges that we have. So this is what we want the government to focus on, ban GMOs and focus on strengthening our own agricultural system, strengthening our smallholder farmers and promoting agroecology. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. We thank you guys loud and clear. We do justice to all what I've said here today. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.